with my handy dandy little book. So Negro Yearbook 1913. And this is something that I just was reading through, and I got my little sticky notes to try to keep me on track. And this is talking about trades, inventions, agriculture, towns, and business leagues, and banks. And so this is really just showing. This book was printed in 1913, but some of this stuff is from 1890 to 1900. And it's just real interesting how it's saying about the agriculture pursuits was over 2 million. And they all say Negro. 1890, 1913, Negro. Okay. That's going to be important because it's saying the agricultural, professional service, domestic and personal service, trade and transportation, manufacturing, all of this. All of this, Negroes. So, where is it at? Oh, so it's saying from the 10 years, it's like the gains, 132% gains from 1890 to 1900, and the miners, the masons, the dressmakers, iron and steel workers, stationary engineers. That, like, when you just really realize 132% increase over 10 years, and this is from 1890 to 1900, you would have me to think that we were just down bad. Yeah, no, we was already here. It's proven we were already here. And I wrote down some stuff. First boat arrived Ellis Island in 1892. But we was already 2 million working on agriculture, according to their records, prior to 1892, when Ellis Island, when they came off to the boat. And the more and more I read, I'm all over the place because my thoughts be getting all over they said the first boat that came over, I know I wrote it down somewhere, but I'm just going off my dome. They said they went to their prisons and that them crazy houses, and they brought over workers and people out the crazy house and people out the prisons and sent them over here. They didn't send the best and the brightest. That's how they got over here. None of my ancestors came off no boat. So I wrote down the 23rd president from 1889 to 1893 was Benjamin Harrison, and he was a Republican. His vice president was Levi P. Morton, and they signed the Board of Geographical Names and Strengthened the U.S. And this is what they did. When they did all this, they start changing the names. Then they signed on a foreign policy, actively oversaw foreign affairs, particularly the Pan American Congress. That's what I'm just saying. This is what they were doing. This was all strategic. We was already here. We was already successful. We had everything we needed. We didn't need these people. They brought these people over here to take from us. So I'm going over my own genealogy, right? And so this were the choices that they had on the census and all the legal documents. These was the ones that they had. White, Negro, Oriental, Indian, Filipino. Those were the only choices, right? And so this is how you know they was playing these little mind games. And that's why I said about this president who did all the name changing. They would have you think he was only changing names of states or whatever. No, this was a way to paper genocide us, the American Indian. We was American Indian forever. But then as I'm going through my own personal genealogy, they're saying in 1878 they wrote Negro. Yeah, I don't believe it. Like, that's what I'm saying. This paper genocide is real bad. So in 1890, they don't have American Indian. Then some of them say 1900, it'll say black. 1920, it'll say black. 1950, it'll say Negro. These people played so many games with changing our identity to get us away from who we was. And they did it on the highest levels. The highest levels. Then this Walter Plackett with the... He was the one who, up until he died, and I hope he died a miserable death. I think, was he the one that was hit by a car? I wrote down somebody was hit by a car, and I hope it was him. When he did all of that, and, you know, changing all of the vital records. He worked for that. He was real big into eugenics, and he invented an incubator for all these test tube babies that they were creating and taking them to the World Fair in 1912. He became the Register of Vital Records, whites and colors. And see, when he got the vital records, and then you got this president changing names, and then you got a eugenics over vital records, that's how I can look at my own personal family genealogy, and you get all this nonsense. On my mother's birth certificate, did I write it? I think my parents are Negro and my grandparents are colored. I personally, 50 years old, I don't have a race on my birth certificate at all. Again, Walter Packard, and then that Margaret Sanger. They try to make her out there like she was this great thing who really was about... She was part of the eugenics movement too. But they would have you think that, ooh, she was into women's health. No, she wasn't. No, she wasn't. They was trying to get black women to use us as case studies. I'm not going to say what I was thinking. I ain't even going to say it. So I wrote this down. These are the different ways that they described us over the year. Okay, so they said 1492, we was just Indian. 1600, we was slave. 1832, we was Negro. 1900, we were Negro. 1950, we was colored. 1965, we was black. 1970, we was Afro-American. 1980, back to black. 1988, African American. 1999, minority. 2000, black. 2017, African American. And now, what we going by? I'm American Indian, Aboriginal, Indigenous. I know people are with the FBA. And I just got to say this. I get it. I love the delineation movement. It was needed for us. But I gotta say this. This whole Tariq Nasheed being this, ooh, no. Listen, I'm old enough to remember him when he was all over the TV, all having all of the, like he used to have some dang show when he used to like be a pimp. And I don't know if I'm remembering it right, because you know what I did? Because I know my memory remember him saying like, oh, he was a pimp and he was doing all this other stuff. You know what I can't do? I can't find not a clip of nothing. That tells me what I already know. He's an agent. Only people can get certain things off the internet, so now you can't find what I'm talking about. But I'm telling you, I'm 50 years old and I'm old enough to know this Negro is a grifter. Y'all better use y'all discernment. Y'all better use y'all discernment. It's going to be just how when all that time the young people was really rocking with Jesse Jackson, and now we figured out at the end. Watch one day when you figure out that I'm talking about he an agent. Y'all better wake up. To the next one.